The chamber was enormous. It stretched high above like a cathedral, with lights that shimmered like stars. Hundreds of alien species filled the seats that circled the central floor. Some had scales, others had feathers. Some breathed air, others floated in water-filled spheres. They all watched as Ambassador Tejo stood alone in the center. Tejo was human. He wore a simple dark suit, nothing fancy. His hair was black and neat. His face showed no emotion, but inside his heart was heavy. He knew what was coming. He had known for weeks. High Arbiter Korn sat at the highest seat. He was insectoid, with multiple eyes that glowed a soft green. His voice echoed through the chamber when he spoke. It was translated into every language instantly. Ambassador Tejo, you stand before the Galactic Council one final time. We have debated this matter for months. Today we vote. Tejo nodded slowly. He had given dozens of speeches here. He had explained humanity's position again and again. No one had listened. No one ever listened. Counselor Vexith stood up. He was amphibious with smooth blue skin that glistened under the lights. His voice was wet and bubbling. Humanity has become a threat to galactic peace. For 3 years you have built weapons, warships, battle stations. You refuse to share your technology. You refuse to cooperate. You act like we are your enemies. Tejo looked at Vexith. His voice was calm when he spoke. We have never threatened anyone. Every ship we built was for defense. Every weapon was to protect, not to attack. Defense against what? Vexith's voice rose. There is no threat. The galaxy is at peace. You see enemies where there are none. You are paranoid warmongers. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Many species nodded. Some made sounds of approval in their own languages. Tejo took a breath. He had tried this before, but he would try once more. We have detected signals from the outer veil, strange movements. Ships that don't match any known species. We have evidence of... You have nothing. Another counselor stood. She was avian with bright red feathers. We have sent our own scouts. They found nothing. You invent threats to justify your military buildup. You want to dominate the galaxy. We want to protect it, Tejo said quietly. High Arbiter Korn raised one of his many limbs. The chamber fell silent. Humanity has had every opportunity to change. You have refused to reduce your military. You have refused to integrate with Council defense forces. You operate alone in secret, building things we cannot inspect. This behavior is unacceptable. Tejo felt the weight of what was coming. He had prepared for this moment, but it still hurt. Humanity had joined the Council with hope. They had dreamed of friendship, of cooperation, of a united galaxy. Instead, they found suspicion and rejection. We call for a vote, Korn announced. All those in favor of expelling humanity from the Galactic Council, signify now. Lights appeared throughout the chamber. Blue lights, hundreds of them. They represented votes. Tejo watched as they multiplied, spreading like a disease. Blue meant yes. Blue meant humanity was unwanted. A few red lights appeared. Red meant no. There were perhaps 20 of them. Species that had worked closely with humans. Species that had seen their dedication and honor. But 20 votes meant nothing against hundreds. The vote is decided, Korn declared. Humanity is hereby expelled from the Galactic Council. You have 30 days to remove all personnel, stations, and assets from Council space. Any human presence after that time will be considered a violation and dealt with accordingly. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some species celebrated. Others looked uncomfortable. A few looked sad. Tejo stood still for a moment. Then he picked up his data pad and walked toward the exit. His footsteps echoed on the polished floor. Counselor Vexith called after him. You brought this on yourselves. Your paranoia and aggression left us no choice. Tejo stopped. He turned slowly. When he spoke, his voice carried throughout the chamber without any need for amplification. It was quiet but clear. We tried to warn you. We tried to prepare you. We offered to share everything we learned, but you called us liars. We offered to help defend you, but you called us warmongers. Now you stand alone. We don't need your protection, the avian counselor said. We have the Council fleet. Tejo's expression didn't change. Your fleet has never faced real combat. Your captains have never seen true war. Your weapons are designed for peace, not survival. Is that a threat? Vexith demanded. No, Tejo said. It's a fact. And soon you will understand the difference between threats and warnings. You will regret this decision. All of you will. Sooner than you think. Get out, Korn commanded. Tejo nodded once. Then he walked out of the chamber. The doors closed behind him with a heavy sound that felt final. Outside, his assistant Yunji was waiting. She was young with worried eyes. How bad was it? As expected, Teho said. Send the message to Earth. Begin withdrawal procedures. All human personnel are to leave council space within 30 days. Yunji's hands shook slightly as she typed on her device. Sir, what about the warning systems we installed? The sensor networks? The defense protocols? Deactivate everything. Dismantle what we can, destroy what we cannot remove. The council wants us gone. They will have their wish completely. But sir, without our systems, they won't see the Krovishai coming. They'll be blind. Teho looked back at the closed doors. Inside that chamber, the council was probably celebrating. They thought they had removed a threat. They thought they were safer now. They made their choice, Yunji. We cannot force them to accept our help. We cannot make them listen. All we can do now is protect our own people and hope the council learns before it's too late. And if they don't learn in time? Teho was quiet for a moment. Then he started walking down the long corridor. Then they will pay a terrible price for their pride. Come, we have much work to do. Behind them, the council chamber continued its discussions. They talked about peace and unity. They congratulated themselves on removing the warlike humans. They felt safer already. None of them knew that in the darkness beyond the outer veil, something watched and waited. Something hungry. Something patient. And humanity's warning systems, the ones that had been watching for 3 years, were about to go dark. The countdown had begun. 30 days until humanity left, and then the council would be alone. See the massive defense station that humans had built 3 years ago. It orbited a council border world watching the empty space beyond. Begin shutdown procedures, she ordered. Her crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had done this 12 times already. 12 stations, 12 outposts, all being dismantled and abandoned. This would be the 13th Station Master Kiora watched from the station's observation deck. She was avian with golden feathers that caught the light. She had worked alongside humans for 2 years. They had become friends. Captain Minji, may I speak with you? Kyora's voice came through the communication system. Of course, Station Master. I'll meet you in the docking bay. 10 minutes later, they stood together watching human technicians remove equipment. The technicians worked in silence, carefully packing everything into cargo containers. I don't understand, Kiora said. Why are you taking the sensor network? That system monitors the whole sector. Without it, we'll be blind to incoming threats. Minji watched her people work. The network is human property. We built it. We maintained it. We paid for it. The council ordered us to remove all our assets. This is an asset. But we need it, Kiora protested. The council fleet depends on that early warning data. How will we know if something approaches? The council voted to expel us, Minji said quietly. They made it clear they don't want our help. They don't trust us. They think we're paranoid and aggressive. So we're leaving completely. Kyora's feathers ruffled with anxiety. Captain, I voted against the expulsion. Many of us did. We don't all agree with the council's decision. Minji's expression softened slightly. I know and I'm sorry. But orders are orders. Humanity is withdrawing from council space entirely. That means everything. Across the galaxy, the same scene repeated itself. Human vessels departed from stations and outposts. Research facilities were emptied. Trade posts closed. Scientists packed their equipment and said goodbye to alien colleagues. Trade Minister Yongsun oversaw the evacuation of the commercial hub on Centauri Prime. He was older, with gray in his hair and tired eyes. He had spent 5 years building trade relationships with council species. Now it was all ending. A Centauri merchant approached him as he supervised the loading of the last cargo ship. The merchant's crystalline body reflected light in rainbow patterns. Minister Yongsun, please reconsider. Our economy depends on human trade. Your goods are superior. Your prices are fair. What will we do without you? Yongsun smiled sadly. You will trade with other species. The galaxy is vast. You will adapt. But no other species offers what you do. Your technology, your methods, your reliability. The council made a mistake. Then perhaps the council will learn, Yongsun said. But that is not our concern anymore. We were asked to leave. We are leaving. The merchant's light dimmed. This feels wrong. Like something terrible is coming. Yongsun didn't answer. He simply boarded his ship and gave the order to depart. Day by day, the human presence in council space shrank. Ships crossed the border back into human territory. Personnel returned to Earth and her colonies. Military vessels formed up in organized fleets and jumped away. The withdrawal was eerily quiet. No protests, no complaints, no drama. Humans simply packed up and left, taking everything with them. On day 28, only a handful of human vessels remained. Captain Minji's Indomitable was one of them. She was overseeing the final shutdown of the border monitoring network. Kiora came to see her one last time. The avian looked distressed. "Captain, I've been reviewing the sensor data. There are gaps now, large gaps. We can't see into the outer veil anymore. That's where you detected the anomalies, isn't it?" Minji nodded. "Yes, our deep-range sensors covered that entire region. We monitored it constantly for 3 years. What did you see there?" Kiora asked. "What were you so worried about?" Minji was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled up a data file on her tablet and showed it to Kiora. The screen displayed sensor readings, movement patterns, energy signatures. Unknown vessels. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. They've been gathering on the far side of the veil for 2 years. Their technology doesn't match anything in Council records. They're organized, patient, watching. Kyora's eyes widened. By the stars. The Council needs to know this. We told them, Minji said. Many times. They called us liars. They said we were inventing threats. Ambassador Tejo showed them this exact data. They dismissed it as false, but this is real. This is evidence. Evidence they refuse to believe. And now our sensors are being removed. Soon you won't be able to see the veil at all. You'll be blind to whatever is out there. Kyora's feathers flattened in fear. What should we do? Convince your council to listen. Build your own sensors. Prepare your defenses. Do whatever you can. Minji closed the data file. But do it quickly. Because whoever is out there, they won't wait forever. On day 29, the last human transport ships departed. They carried civilians, families, children who had been born in council space. They carried hopes that had been crushed and friendships that had been broken. On day 30, only the military vessels remained. Captain Minji stood on the bridge of the Indomitable one final time. Around her ship, a dozen other warships waited in formation. All stations report ready for departure, her first officer announced. Open a channel to Council Defense Headquarters, Minji ordered. A moment later, the channel opened. A reptilian defense coordinator appeared on screen. He looked annoyed. Captain Minji, you were supposed to be gone hours ago. We are departing now. I wanted to send one final message. All human defense protocols have been terminated. All sensor networks have been dismantled. All early warning systems have been shut down. You are on your own now. Good luck. The coordinator waved a clawed hand dismissively. We don't need your systems. The Council fleet is perfectly capable of defending our space. Minji stared at him for a long moment. Then she said quietly, I hope you're right. For your sake. She cut the transmission. All ships jump on my mark. 3, 2, 1 mark. The human fleet vanished in flashes of light, jumping to faster than light speed. Within seconds they were gone. Behind them, the border region fell silent. The sensors that had watched the darkness were dark themselves now. The stations that had stood guard were empty. The network that had protected Council space was gone. And in the outer veil, beyond where Council sensors could reach, something noticed the change. The watching eyes were gone. The Guardians had left. The way was open, it was time to move. 3 weeks passed after the last human ship departed. At first, nothing changed. The Council celebrated their independence. News broadcasts praised the decision. Politicians gave speeches about unity and peace without the warlike humans. Then the reports started coming in. Defense Coordinator Navix sat in his office reviewing incident reports. He was reptilian with dark green scales and yellow eyes. He had been confident 3 weeks ago. Now doubt crept into his mind. The first report was minor. A transport ship missed its scheduled arrival at a border station. It happened sometimes. Ships had engine trouble or took alternate routes. The second report came 2 days later. Another ship was overdue. Then a third. Then a fourth. Navix called Admiral Prella. She was aquatic, her office filled with water. Her image appeared on his screen, distorted slightly by the liquid medium. Admiral, we have 7 missing ships in the border sectors. Have your patrols found anything? Prella's tentacles moved in what Navix recognized as uncertainty. My patrols report sensor malfunctions. They can't get clear readings near the outer veil. The equipment keeps failing. Failing? All of it? The human-installed systems are gone. Our own sensors are older, less powerful. We're trying to recalibrate, but it takes time. Navix felt a chill run down his spine. Send a patrol to investigate the missing ships. Full squadron, armed and ready. Coordinator, is that necessary? They probably just had navigation errors. 7 ships, Admiral, in 3 days. Send the patrol. The patrol was sent. It consisted of 6 Council warships armed with standard weapons and shields. They were modern vessels, well-maintained and well-crewed. The Council was proud of them. They never returned. 2 days after the patrol departed, a damaged freighter limped into Unity Station. Its hull was torn open in several places. Scorch marks covered its surface. Half the crew was dead. Navix arrived at the station within hours. He went straight to the medical bay where the survivors were being treated. The freighter's captain was a Centauri, her crystalline body cracked and dim. What happened? Navix demanded. The captain's voice was weak. They came out of nowhere. We were hauling ore from the mining colony. Standard route. Then our sensors went crazy. Ships appeared all around us. What kind of ships? Pirates? No, not pirates. Nothing like anything I've ever seen. They were huge, dark, their weapons went right through our shields. Like the shields weren't even there. Navix leaned closer. Did you get any data? Any recordings? The captain gestured weakly to a data chip on the table beside her. Everything our sensors caught, before they were destroyed. Navix grabbed the chip and rushed to the command center. He plugged it into the main computer and watched the recording. The screen showed the freighter's view. Empty space. Then suddenly, without warning, ships appeared. They were enormous, at least twice the size of Council warships. Their hulls were black and covered in strange markings. They moved with terrifying speed. Weapons fire lanced out, red beams that cut through the freighter's shields like they were nothing. The hull began to tear apart. Crew members screamed. The recording cut to static. Navix played it again and again. Each time his fear grew. He sent the data to every military analyst in Council space. The responses came back within hours. No one recognized the ships. No one had seen this technology before. The weapons were unlike anything in Council databases, Admiral Prella called him. Her voice was tight with stress. Coordinator, 3 more outposts have gone silent. I'm pulling back our patrols. Whatever is out there, we're not ready for it. We need to organize a response, Navix said. Alert the fleet. Prepare defensive positions. With what protocols? The humans designed all our rapid response systems. Without them, we don't know how to coordinate a fleet-wide defense. Navix felt panic rising. Figure it out. We're the Galactic Council. We have the finest military minds in the galaxy. We have military minds trained for peacekeeping, not war. The humans were the ones who understood real combat. They tried to teach us, but we refused to learn. Navix slammed his fist on the desk. Then we learn now, quickly. But learning took time. Time they didn't have. Over the next week, the attacks intensified. More ships vanished. Entire outposts went dark. The unknown enemy was methodical and precise. They struck the weakest points first, testing Council defenses. Council fleets tried to respond, but coordination was poor. Ships arrived too late or in the wrong positions. Communications were confused. Orders contradicted each other. Navix barely slept. His office became a command center filled with maps and reports. Each day brought worse news. On the 10th day, he made a decision. A difficult decision. A humiliating decision. He sent a message to human space. It was brief and simple. We need help. Unknown enemy attacking our borders. Request immediate assistance. We'll offer full compensation. The response came 6 hours later. It was even briefer. Request denied. You expelled us from Council space. This is no longer our concern. Good luck. Navix stared at the message. It was exactly what they deserved. The humans had every right to refuse, but that didn't make it any easier. He sent another message. More desperate, please. Civilians are dying. Colonies are falling. We were wrong. We admit it, but innocent people need help. No response came. That night, the situation became critical. A colony world sent a distress signal. The enemy fleet had entered orbit. Millions of lives were at stake. Navix scrambled every available ship. 23 warships jumped to the colony. It was the largest fleet the Council had assembled in decades. They lasted 17 minutes. The enemy destroyed them with casual efficiency. Their weapons tore through shields. Their armor absorbed return fire. Their tactics were perfect. Only 3 council ships escaped. The colony sent one last transmission before going silent. The message was simple: they're landing. Tell our families we love them. Then nothing. Navix collapsed into his chair. Around him, the command center was chaos. Officers shouted. Screens flashed with alerts. Panic spread like fire. Admiral Prella appeared on screen. Coordinator, we've lost a quarter of our fleet. We can't stop them. We need to evacuate the border worlds. Evacuate to where? If we can't stop them at the border, they'll just follow us deeper into council space. Then what do we do? Navix was quiet for a long moment. Then he said the words he never thought he would say. Contact the High Arbiter. Tell him to call an emergency council session. We need to beg the humans to save us. The council chamber looked different now. The proud atmosphere was gone. Instead, fear filled every corner. Representatives sat with slumped shoulders and worried expressions. Some had lost colonies. Others had lost entire fleets. High Arbiter Korn called the session to order. His multiple eyes looked tired. When he spoke, his voice lacked its usual authority. We face an existential threat. The enemy calls themselves the Krovashai. In 2 weeks, they have destroyed 47 ships, 7 outposts, and 3 colonies. Over 2 million council citizens are dead or missing. Silence filled the chamber. 2 million dead. The number was incomprehensible. Councillor Vexith stood slowly. His blue skin had lost its shine. He looked sick. High Arbiter, our fleets are being destroyed. Our weapons barely scratch their hulls. Our shields are useless. We need help. Help from whom? Another councillor asked. We've sent distress signals to every allied species. No one can reach us in time. Vexith's voice dropped to almost a whisper. The humans. The chamber erupted in shouts. Some councillors agreed immediately. Others protested. We expelled them. They hate us now. Why would they help? Korn raised a limb for silence. When he spoke, shame colored his words. Defense Coordinator Navix has already attempted to contact them. Multiple times. The humans refused. Then we're doomed, someone said. Vexith shook his head. No, we need to offer them something they can't refuse. Full readmission to the council, military command authority, access to our resources, whatever they want. That's surrender, the avian counselor protested. We'd be admitting they were right all along. They were right, Vexith said quietly. We were fools. Ambassador Taiho warned us about this exact threat. We called him a liar. Now millions are dead and millions more will die unless we swallow our pride. The truth of his words hung in the air. No one could deny it anymore. Korn looked around the chamber. All in favor of offering humanity full terms for their assistance? Every light turned blue. Unanimous. The vote that expelled humanity had taken hours of debate. This vote took seconds. Send for Ambassador Taiho, Korn ordered. Give him full negotiating authority. Tell him we accept any terms. The message was sent immediately. For 6 agonizing hours, there was no response. During those hours, 2 more outposts fell. Another fleet was ambushed and destroyed. Refugee ships flooded toward the core worlds, carrying terrified civilians. Then finally a response came. Ambassador Taiho will arrive within 12 hours to negotiate terms. Prepare a complete briefing on the enemy and council military capabilities. Relief swept through the council. The humans were coming. There was hope. Taiho arrived exactly 12 hours later. He came alone, walking into the council chamber with the same calm expression he always wore. But this time, everyone looked at him differently. Not with suspicion or dismissal. With desperate hope, Korn stood to greet him. Ambassador Taiho, thank you for coming. We need your help. Taiho nodded once. I've reviewed your situation. The Krovashai have invaded with approximately 200 warships. They're following a standard conquest pattern, establishing forward bases before pushing deeper. Your current defensive capabilities are insufficient. Can you stop them? Vexith asked. Yes, Taiho said simply. We've been preparing to fight the Krovashai for 3 years. We know their tactics, their technology, their weaknesses. We can defeat them. Then why didn't you warn us more forcefully? The avian counselor demanded. Why didn't you make us believe? Taiho's expression didn't change, but his voice carried an edge. We showed you evidence. We shared our data. We offered to coordinate defense. You called us liars and warmongers. You expelled us from council space. What more could we have done? Silence. No one had an answer. We were wrong, Korn admitted. We let pride and fear cloud our judgment. Now we pay the price. Please, Ambassador, help us. We'll agree to any terms. Taiho pulled out a datapad. These are humanity's conditions. First, humans will have full military command authority over all Council defense forces. Your admirals will follow human strategic direction. Agreed, Korn said immediately. Second, humanity will be readmitted to the Council with permanent status. No future votes to expel us. Agreed. Third, Council species will participate in joint military training under human supervision. This is non-negotiable. If another threat emerges, you will be prepared. Agreed. Fourth, you will publicly acknowledge that humanity was right about the Krovashai threat. The galaxy needs to learn from this mistake. That one stung. Public humiliation. But what choice did they have? Agreed, Korn said quietly. Taiho put away his datapad. Then we have an agreement. Human forces will deploy immediately to... Alarms suddenly blared through the chamber. Red lights flashed. A holographic display appeared showing Unity Station's position. Defense Coordinator Navix's voice came through the speakers, frantic. Krovashai fleet approaching Unity Station. 50 ships, maybe more. They'll be in firing range in 10 minutes. Panic erupted. Counselors rushed toward exits. Some screamed. Unity Station was the heart of Council space. If it fell, everything fell. Taiho remained calm. He tapped his communication device. Admiral Sora, you have authorization. Execute Defense Protocol 7. A female voice responded. Understood. All ships jump now. On the holographic display, the Krovashai fleet continued its approach. They moved in perfect formation, confident and unstoppable. They had crushed every Council fleet they encountered. This would be no different. Then space erupted with light. Human warships appeared from nowhere, jumping directly into defensive positions around Unity Station. Not 10 ships or 20, 50, 100. More kept appearing, materializing from faster-than-light travel in perfectly coordinated jumps. The Council counselors stared at the display in shock. The human fleet was massive, organized, and clearly prepared. They hadn't scrambled to respond. They had been waiting, positioned, ready. How? Vexith whispered. How are they here already? Taiho watched the display calmly. We've been monitoring Council space since we left. We knew the Krovashai would eventually strike at Unity Station. We positioned our fleet accordingly. You were watching us? Korn asked. Someone had to, Taiho said quietly. You removed all the sensors. Someone needed to see the Krovashai coming. On the display, the human fleet moved to engage. The Krovashai fleet, sensing a real threat for the first time, changed formation. They prepared for a fight. They had no idea what was about to hit them. Admiral Sora stood on the bridge of the battleship Defiant. Around her, officers worked with calm efficiency. No panic, no fear, just professional focus. They had trained for this moment for 3 years. All ships report ready, her tactical officer announced. Sora studied the tactical display. The Krovashai fleet numbered 63 ships, large, powerful vessels designed for overwhelming force. They had destroyed every Council fleet they faced. They expected this to be easy. They were wrong. Weapons free, Sora ordered. Target their command ship first. Fire on my mark. The human fleet moved as one. They didn't charge forward recklessly. They positioned themselves carefully, using defensive formations that protected Unity Station while maintaining firing angles. The Krovashai opened fire first. Red beams of energy lanced across space, the same weapons that had torn through Council shields. They struck the human vessels and bounced off. The human shields held firm. They had been specifically designed to counter Krovashai weapons. Years of study, analysis, and testing had created shields that could handle the energy frequencies the Krovashai used. Return fire, Sora commanded. The human fleet unleashed its weapons. Blue-white beams of concentrated energy struck the Krovashai vessels. Unlike the Council's ineffective attacks, these weapons were devastating. They had been designed specifically to penetrate Krovashai armor. The lead Krovashai ship exploded in a brilliant flash. Debris scattered across space. The other Krovashai vessels broke formation, surprised for the first time. Second wave fire, Sora ordered. More beams lanced out. 3 more Krovashai ships erupted into flames. The enemy tried to adapt, changing their tactics, repositioning. But the humans had studied them for years. Every move the Krovashai made, the humans had already anticipated. In the Council chamber, everyone watched the holographic display in stunned silence. The battle was nothing like the desperate struggles Council fleets had fought. This was systematic destruction. The human ships moved with perfect coordination. They covered each other, rotated positions to maintain shield strength, and concentrated fire on priority targets. It was like watching a dance, deadly and beautiful. "They're toying with them," Counselor Vexith whispered. "The humans could end this faster if they wanted." Teho heard him. "Admiral Sora is being methodical. She's ensuring minimal human casualties while gathering additional data on Krovashai tactics. The fight isn't about revenge. It's about perfect execution." The battle lasted 43 minutes. At the end, 57 Krovashai ships were destroyed or disabled. 6 managed to escape, jumping away in full retreat. Not a single human vessel was lost. Only 3 had minor damage. The council chamber erupted in cheers. Counselors embraced each other. Some cried with relief. Unity Station was saved. The council was saved. Taiho remained still, watching the display. His expression was unreadable. High Arbiter Korin approached him. "Ambassador, your people just saved us all." "We can never thank you enough." Taiho turned to face him. "My people saved you because it was the right thing to do. Not because you deserved it." The words were harsh but true. Korin's eyes lowered. "You're right, we failed. We let pride and fear cloud our judgment. We ignored your warnings, and people died because of it." The celebration in the chamber died down as counselors heard the conversation. They gathered around listening. Taiho looked around at them. These were the same faces that had voted to expel humanity. The same voices that had called humans warmongers and paranoid. Now they looked ashamed. 3 years ago, humanity detected the Krovashai, Taiho said. His voice was calm but firm. "We saw them gathering on the far side of the outer veil. We studied them. We analyzed their technology. We realized they were preparing to invade." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We came to this council with evidence. We showed you sensor data. We offered to share everything we learned. We proposed joint defense preparations. And what did you do?" Silence. No one answered. "You called us liars," Taiho continued. "You said we were inventing threats to justify our military buildup. You accused us of wanting to dominate the galaxy. You expelled us from the council." Vexith stepped forward. His voice was thick with emotion. "We were fools. We see that now. We let our prejudices blind us. We thought we knew better." "You thought peace meant ignoring danger," Taiho said. "You thought preparation for war was the same as wanting war. You confused vigilance with aggression." He walked to the center of the chamber where he had stood alone during the expulsion vote. Now everyone watched him with different eyes. Humanity spent 3 years preparing for the Krovashai. We built weapons designed to counter their technology. We developed shields that could withstand their attacks. We trained our crews for this specific enemy. Every resource, every effort was focused on protecting this galaxy. "And we rejected you," Korin said quietly. "Yes. And thousands of council citizens died because of that rejection. Ships were destroyed. Colonies fell. Families were torn apart. All because the council refused to listen when humanity warned them of danger." The shame in the chamber was palpable. Some counselors wept. Others stared at the floor. "But humanity came anyway," the avian counselor said. "Even after we expelled you. Even after we rejected your help." "You came when we needed you," Taiho nodded. "Because that's what humanity does. We protect. Even when we're rejected, even when we're insulted, even when others call us monsters. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. It's who we are." "Why?" Vexith asked. "After everything we did to you, why?" "Because it's right," Taiho said simply. "Because innocent people were dying. Because we have the strength to help and the moral obligation to use that strength. Humanity learned long ago that with power comes responsibility. We cannot turn away from those in need even if they hate us." Admiral Sora's image appeared on the main display. "Ambassador Taiho, we've secured the battle zone. Human ships are establishing defensive positions throughout Council space. The Krovashai are in full retreat. Excellent work, Admiral. Begin Phase 2. Deploy the sensor networks and establish early warning stations. I want complete coverage of the outer veil." "Understood. We'll have the defensive grid operational within 24 hours. The transmission ended. Taiho turned back to the Council. "Humanity will remain in Council space. We will defend your borders. We will train your fleets. We will teach you what we know about the Krovashai and how to fight them. But things will be different now." "Different how?" Korn asked. "When humanity warns you of danger, you will listen. When we advise preparation, you will prepare. When we offer to share knowledge, you will learn. The galaxy cannot afford another mistake like this one. Agreed, Korn said immediately. Completely agreed. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Everyone understood. The lesson had been learned, written in the blood of those who died. Tejo looked at each counselor in turn. Remember this day. Remember what pride cost you. Remember that warnings are not threats and preparation is not aggression. Remember that sometimes the ones who seem most dangerous are actually the ones keeping you safe. We will remember, Vexith promised. The galaxy will remember. Tejo nodded once. Then he walked out of the chamber. This time no one told him to leave. Instead, they watched him go with respect, gratitude, and a deep understanding of what they had almost lost. Outside, Yunji was waiting again. She smiled when she saw him. We're staying? We're staying, Tejo confirmed. On our terms this time. Do you think they've really learned? Tejo looked back at the closed doors. Inside, the council was already planning how to rebuild, how to prepare, how to ensure this never happened again. They've learned, he said. Pain is an excellent teacher. The council will never make this mistake again, and humanity will be here to make sure of it. Above them, human warships took up positions throughout council space, silent guardians, watchful protectors, ready for whatever came next. The Krovashai had learned that humanity was not to be trifled with. The council had learned that humanity's warnings were worth heeding, and in the darkness beyond the outer veil, any other threats watching learned a valuable lesson too. Humanity protected its own, and now whether the council liked it or not, they were humanity's to protect. The humans had departed. The council had felt instant regret, and now the galaxy was safer because humanity had chosen to return.